The first week after the wedding, I was flying high on pure bliss. I still remember our ceremony in that little chapel on the California coast. Emily in her white dress, her hands trembling as I slipped the ring onto her finger, and the sound of the waves blending with the thunder of my own heart. At dawn, we sat on our Santa Barbara hotel balcony, talking about how our new life together would begin. Quiet mornings with coffee, runs along the beach, laughter over candlelit dinners. But that very same morning, half asleep, I reached for Emily's things to grab us 2 lattes from the cafe downstairs, and caught a glimpse of her phone lighting up. "Jenny to Emily, remember the best night ever?" My heart skipped a beat. There shouldn't have been any Jenny. Her group chat was just Jessica, Sarah, Ashley, and Maya. That name jumped out like a remote control someone else was holding over my life. Instead of blowing up the moment, I quietly slipped into the bathroom and locked the door. The phone slipped from her bathrobe pocket and glowed on the counter. One line, "Remember the best night ever?" And every doubt I'd never allowed myself before burst into flames. I decided right then that I'd play it cool. At our very first breakfast as a married couple, I'd become a detective in my own life, gathering fragments of a truth she'd gone to great lengths to hide. I didn't want my judgment clouded by emotion. I needed to keep my calm, at least until I had irrefutable proof. I swiped open the chat, saw the timestamp. The night before the wedding, when she'd flown off to Las Vegas with her friends for a bachelorette party. I didn't dive into the photos or videos yet. That would come later. For now, I was tracking time. 1 day until the wedding, just hours until my surprise lattes. Stepping onto the balcony, phone in hand like a bomb, Emily came up behind me, radiant and unsuspecting, and kissed me on the neck. My gut churned, but I smiled, hugged her tight, and told her I'd be right back. Downstairs, I replayed every bit of the group chat. Names, emojis, timestamps, every tiny clue poured into a hellish puzzle. When I returned with the lattes, foam still steaming, I handed her one and watched the swirl of cinnamon. She took a sip and said, "You look miles away." I shrugged and joked about the sunrise. I told myself, endure one more day. Our cabin by Lake Tahoe, those towering pines and evergreens, would be the perfect backdrop for my quiet investigation. As we pulled out in our rented crossover, I held her gaze through the windshield and made a silent vow. I'd find proof, video footage with her voice and someone else's hands. Yet I couldn't blow up our honeymoon just to satisfy suspicion. I'd wait. When we pulled up at that isolated cabin on Lake Tahoe's shore, I felt both the thrill of continuing our honeymoon and an icy pit in my stomach. This covert operation I'd volunteered for. Day 1 felt like a dream. Coffee on the deck, walks under dappled sunlight, her hair glowing gold. Every "I love you," every "I'm so happy," felt like a lie, because I knew about the night she'd hidden. I started small, tracking where she left her phone. For 2 mornings, she'd leave it charging by the bed while she paddleboarded. Perfect. I'd slip in, review the chat history, even check any deleted contacts. I felt absurd, like a guard dog for my marriage, but if anyone should protect us, it was me. That evening, with wine by sunset glow, I suggested we look through our wedding photos on the laptop. She uploaded them, and I pretended to scroll normally, then found a private album in her cloud. No password. Her damning evidence lay unlocked, hidden only in her head. I let the gallery sync to the laptop, where I'd installed software to crack encrypted folders. Late that night, I returned to find a new album labeled Girls' Night. My pulse raced. I clicked enter. Photos of Emily and her friends in Vegas, champagne in a limo, dancing by the Bellagio fountains, playful waist pinches. Then one file, img1234.mov. I put on headphones, neon lights, a pounding club beat, and there she was at the bar, hair wild, eyes glazed. Next to her, a dark-jacketed stranger whispered her name. Then came the part that froze me. His hand sliding around her waist, his lips on her neck, and her head bowed in pleasure, while her friends laughed in the background and she murmured, "This was the best night of my life." My heart stopped. I muted it, copied the file to an external drive, and uploaded it to a hidden server over VPN. I needed ironclad proof. I had it. Morning, I fell back into routine. Coffee, a jog along the lakeshore. Emily asked about a beach picnic, and I said, "Tomorrow, sweetheart. Today I just want to relax." I reminded myself, 5 more days. She mustn't suspect I knew. If she did, she'd erase everything. I wasn't out for revenge. I needed to understand why she'd betrayed us, what drove her. I listened to her phone calls to Jessica, Sarah, Maya, laughter, plans for tomorrow. Each yeah was a treasure. But one question haunted me. Could I ever forgive this? That night, under creaking pines, I unpacked the video files from Jessica's phone. Vegas Untold.move. The first seconds were Emily smiling into the camera. "You ready? Tonight changes everything." Then the club chaos, the flirting. I paused at 2:17, wide shot. The same man in the jacket leaning in to whisper to Sarah first, her eyes glinting with mischief. I noted every detail. Next morning, I tapped on Emily's shoulder with 2 coffees. She yawned awake, and I fixed her with my calmest gaze. "I've got an idea." She started to ask what, but I dropped my eyes, plotting my next move. Discover who that guy was and why he needed her. At dawn, before the sun topped the pines, I packed a snapshot of the man's face from After Party 1 and strolled into the local karaoke bar. Everyone knows everyone at Tahoe. I slid the printout to the bartender. "You know this guy?" He stared, then said, "That's Marcus. You know, Marcus Holt. He's here every weekend, owns an events company in LA. He gave me the Sunset Boulevard address and a number. Jackpot." Back at the cabin, I called Marcus Holt under the guise of booking his services. He denied seeing Emily at any bachelorette party, then stumbled when I named the exact date. "Okay, I was at a few after-parties," he admitted. When I dropped her name, Emily Jenkins, he confirmed he'd driven her back to the hotel, but nothing beyond that. That drive home was my confirmation. Next day, I lured Marcus out for coffee at a quiet lakeside cafe. He confessed. Emily's girlfriends hauled her to a corner of the hotel wall, loud music booming. They held her up while he comforted her, his hand on her back. "It wasn't just a ride home," he said softly. "It was a farewell to who she thought she was before the wedding." I thanked him, paid, and walked back under tall evergreens, audio and photos burning in my pocket. These witnesses, Marcus and Jessica, had given me the truth. That night, I slipped Emily's phone from her purse and copied every voice memo. More than 10 files, footsteps, laughter. The clincher was Jessica's text. "OMG, she was so gone. Best night ever." I saved it as confirmation.txt. Morning, I placed 2 lattes on our breakfast table and said, "I want to show you something." Her brows shot up as I played IMG1234.movie, her face at the bar, the hand on her waist. She froze. Then I played After Party 1 and After Party 2, her laughing, her whispering, "I'm yours tonight." Her mask shattered. "How could you?" I asked, though the evidence spoke for itself. Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't mean to. It was just fun," she whispered. "Fun? You were supposed to be my wife in a day." I pressed. "You betrayed us." She sobbed. I stood, set my phone down. "I'm taking my things and leaving." She reached for me, but I quietly shook her off. I gathered my bag, left the ring and hotel key on the table, and walked outside to the waiting crossover. I didn't look back, just the reflection of her solitary figure in the rear view as I drove off. The road out of Tahoe wound away, and with every mile, the emptiness grew. I remembered our first meeting, how she sat next to me at a mutual friend's party and said, "I want to spend my life with you." I believed her, without a doubt. Now her, "I love you," "I miss you," "You're my rock," each sounded hollow. Back in LA, the city's roar barely registered. I checked into my mom's place. Her home always smells like fresh bread and childhood comforts. Over tea, I told her everything. The message from Jenny, the Vegas video, Marcus, the hidden files. She listened and finally said, "Love is joy and pain, son. You decide where you go next." I took her advice to heart. The next week, I dove into my work projects. Steady, honest tasks with no drama. A month later, Jessica wrote me an apology email with a link to a new video. Marcus admitting on camera that the whole night was a bachelorette stunt, Emily playing some wild bride role. Jessica's remorse clicked shut, the last door on my questions. That summer, I road tripped down the California coast, journaling sunsets and seagulls instead of heartbreak. In the fall, I met Rachel in a cafe over a copy of The Alchemist. She believed in small, steady steps. I didn't rush promises. Honesty mattered more than forever vows. 6 months after Emily's betrayal, I sat by my mom's fireplace with hot cocoa and wrote in my journal, "I'm free from lies. I know how to move on." My story didn't end in courtroom drama or recriminations at her doorstep. It ended with me finding the strength to forgive myself and open my heart again. Because sometimes love isn't a ring or a vow. It's the courage to let go, feel the pain, and choose happiness once more.